Good evening, everybody. Good night, or no, good evening, I think is what you say when you say hello.
Talking Dirty
with Maestro.
Not just numbers,
not just stats.
it's about what they mean.
I'm going to send to you the information.
Talking Dirty.
Hello and welcome to Talkin Dirty with your boy. Me. Hey fam, how you doing? Still coming off of the Layup Invitational, great tournament, great play for everybody. Really good look at who is doing what, and also give us a really good idea of which teams are in good position going into the last dance. Eventually, yes, I'm going to talk about my favorites going to the tournament. I'm going to leave you more to that surprise information as we talk about the tournament next week with Talking Dirty right before the tournament actually hits. But this week, I want to look back on the season and kind of get some things in our good memory hole. First and foremost, major props to SimWorld admin for SimWorld scheduling and the crew that put all of that together. That we had this prep style, AAU style tournament set up where the kids get an opportunity to work on their game and then put it in action on one day, playing multiple times. I think that's why we saw the development of so many players grow so fast over the course of the season. Also, in that looking ahead, I think it's going to pay off how things are going to play out next season with the talk about there being a full-time year-round prep season AAU style with extended tournaments, more opportunities for teams to play, get more run on the court in live action, not just open runs in general. But more importantly, I think more of development preparing the student athletes for their move into SimWorld U. Really excited about how it's going to play. So again, I can't sing their praises enough, even thinking about that and thinking of it that way. And it also separates the taste of prep, I think, from that of what they're going to get in SimWorld U with that crushing schedule as that kind of kicks in. I think this is going to prepare them more for that in a lot of ways. Also this season, I think one thing that more people learned and I think wanted to learn, you can never give up on a game. That every possession counts. So many tournaments, not just games, but tournaments were decided by 3 possessions or less. So what does that tell you? That tells you that even teams that might not have the marked talent as other teams have, the fact that they're able to stay in games, able to take possessions, steal possessions, get moves and things like that, they were able to really put themselves in a position to be successful, more importantly, win. And ultimately, the other thing is the players that we thought were going to develop, I think developed even more so, including the players that we thought might have capped out. I think they still developed more because of how the season was structured and how everything played out, because of the way the tournaments were set up. And that is why when you look at what happened in the last, particularly the last 5 tournaments of the season, nearly every performance was super strong. Nearly every performance, and when I say performance, I'm talking about individual games now, was extremely top tier. Teams having 20 and 30-point fourth quarters to get not only back in games, but in some cases actually win. You don't get that if people aren't prepared, if people aren't ready, if things don't come together. A lot of things have to happen for that to happen. And it's not always the other team choking, so to speak. Sometimes a team finds their defensive stride and then their offense builds off their defense and they get themselves back in the game. So always be willing to give credit where credit is due. And speaking of credit is due, we're gonna talk more about that here. When we're gonna sing out some coaches, some singular performances this season that were really outstanding. But we're gonna single out some coaches on the other side.
Thank you for listening to the Maestro. Want to get involved? Bring it.
Drop in discord.gg/SimWorld Hoops.
If you have the brain, join as a coach. If you have the game,
join as a player.
see the game,
be
be the
the
game.
game.
Now, back to the Maestro.
Sorry. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back.
And welcome back to Talkin Durty with your boy. So there are 4 coaches I really want to talk about. They're my coaches, and thinking of candidates for coaches of the year for various reasons. One that I think was not talked about near enough, and that's Kay McMillan with the Yacht Club. 2 tourney wins this season. Really great job in terms of putting a team together that utilized not only the athleticism and transition, which was the typical staple of the Yacht Club, but also what we saw with them developing a strong outside-inside game. I think Coach McMillan did a really good job with that, and the season paid off for the organization in a way that we're not surprised that it did. Another coach I want to talk about, Coach Dre Pope, of course. Gets on my nerves, but it's all right. It's all good. Not just playing coach. Coach's work this season, I think, has been one of the most consistent teams throughout the season. His work with the Bay Area Breakers. Always a strong franchise, always a strong organization. But he is always that sort of centerpiece around which all of that greatness flows. And he holds it together in a way that I find really nice, really incredible. And his teaching, what he's able to teach and pass on to his players, I think shows probably more immediately early in the season than some of the other coaches because of his experience, but definitely pays off at this particular point in the season as we see his team coming into strides. Again, 2 tournament wins this season, but still contenders throughout, no matter which tournament they were in. Another coach, Best Coast Ballers with Camino Dominguez. Strong performances across the table. Again, perhaps not as strong at the start of the season as we would have hoped for them to be, or we thought they would have been. But he was able to sort of center focus that team and get them together. And again, their performances going toward the end of the year got more consistent. Yes, I know they did win early. I get all that. But a lot of teams were trying to find their footing, including Dominguez and his squad. But then them being able to move forward the way they were to put themselves in position to be in the semifinals, be in those qualifying games for the championship toward the end of the season, despite everyone else getting better, shows you what good work was being done there. And last but not least is the ill, or I used to call them my ill. Now they've gotten so good, I don't think they want to be my ill anymore. Coach Dries Williams, 3 wins this season. One of the favorites to take the tournament. Gonna make Coach upset with me. They're still my ill, but they're not on my favorite list to take the Last Dance tournament. Giving you a little tease there, something to look forward to for next week. But in all seriousness, Coach's work in that squad, when we looked at them before, we always found ourselves, I mean, one of the first back and forths that I really got into it with when I first came to SimWorld was looking at the ill. It was myself and the Blazer. By the way, please check out his work this week. He is bringing it with what's happening in SimWorld U and stuff like that. So Blazing Takes and what he's doing, please check it out, as well as really see how The other eyes in the sky, so to speak, are breaking down the game for you. Marsh and the Marsh Pod, of course. Chase Sniper's work. If you want to get out your books and start taking some notes, please look at Jay Sniper's work and also how he's outlining a lot of things for you guys in terms of teaching, and it works from the U to prep, and we'll carry on to the SWBA as well. But Blaze and I always find ourselves sort of circling that same argument, talking about Philadelphia like they were almost right. Can't say that this year. Coach Idris has them at the point where they're past that. More importantly, Coach Idris has them at the point where they are the expected performers, as rightly so. Finally found that niche that he's looking for in terms of how he's built that team, and it's definitely paying off on so many levels. So it's really good to see it happen, and really exciting to see how it's going to play out going into the last dance. They're definitely one of the more formidable teams that everybody's going to be facing or looking at facing if you're in their bracket specifically, and kind of no way around them. And it's something that I think is going to pay off as the squad builds into the upcoming season as well. So those are my thoughts. Those are the coaches that got my attention. What other coaches that I did not mention that maybe got your attention, who you think might be a good candidate for Coach of the Year? Those are my four. What do you think we need to look for in the last dance? Is it just a team that gets hot at the right time, or is it a team that already is bringing something to the table, and now it's just about finishing the drill, so to speak, with the games that they have remaining over the last 2 weeks in the last dance? You know the deal. Holler at your boy. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you want to think about it. Let me know how you want to talk about it. And let's talk about it. Let's do what we got to do. And you know the deal. As always, just, do what you got to do, but never let Jason Bourne borrow your car.
Like, I need to talk to somebody.
Thank you for listening to Maestro.
Thank you again for checking out Maestro. Drop a tag below and give us a piece of your mind. See you next time.
Well, thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.